Welcome back to the weekly recap. I'm Matt Wacker. Considering your pumpkin options for the season, Leanne visited with One Area Pumpkin Patch this week to get some solid advice in the field, literally.
Matt, I'm out here at Heartland Farms Pumpkin Patch in Bourbon, Missouri, where I'm taking a hayride out to the fields. Hayden Locke, who's the owner here, is going to show me how to pick the perfect pumpkin. Tell us how kids can pick the perfect pumpkin for carving.
So obviously, as you guys can see out here, there are a ton of pumpkins to choose from. My favorite is just your regular jack-o'-lantern size, perfect round pumpkins. But really, any of them are, you can carve any of them. We got big, tall ones that are called our shotgun pumpkins that the seed that we plant is actually called Captain Jack. I know people have carved those, and they're really thick, though. And I know those are a little tougher, but they're also big pumpkins on average, around 35, 40 pounds. And then we got some of our other ones that, again, are just your regular jack-o'-lantern size that are 20, 25 pounds, that are your perfect carving size ones. Again, personal preference, I always look for one that has a good stem on it, strong, sturdy stem, most likely a healthier pumpkin as well, gonna last longer. Make sure, there's no holes in the pumpkin. A lot of people, as you'll see whenever they come out here, they'll actually roll the pumpkins over just like this one here, because it occasionally, like that one, it's pretty round all the way around, but you'll get some where they're really flat on one side. Some people like to carve all the way around the pumpkin, so you want, one that's perfectly, flat all the way around. Otherwise, if you get one side that's not all the way around, you can have for a funky looking pumpkin. So.
Well, I personally wanted a white one this year, but I heard that they're impossible or harder to carve. Is that a myth?
Well, I wouldn't say they're impossible to carve. The shells on the outside are a lot harder. One thing interesting about the white pumpkins actually is a question we get a lot is, are they orange on the inside? And the only way to find out is to get, crack one open. So they're actually almost like a light greenish color on the inside. And I know people have tried carving them, and I've heard people say that they have. It's also, again, a lot of our white ones are, more medium size. We don't have a lot of big white ones, so they are a little bit harder to carve. If you're going to carve one, again, I would go with just your regular jack-o'-lantern.
After a pumpkin is carved, how long will it last?
A lot of it depends on it, when it's carved, but where you set it as well. If it's being left inside, it's going to last a little bit longer. If you have it sitting out in the sun, it's not going to last as long, but not necessarily even for being carved. Pumpkins, once they're taken off the vine, if they're out in the sun and, the Missouri weather, if it's 85, 90, 95 degrees, they do need to put in the shade. As some people have seen, if they came out here the first couple weekends, all our pumpkins in the field were fine because they were left on the vine. Any of the pumpkins that we had up there at the store, we had under shade. A lot of that is to keep just keep them from getting basically baked in the sun. But whenever you carve one, for example, my little sister carved one about 2 weeks ago. It's sitting on the porch and it looks perfectly fine. I've heard people say they carve them, and they go bad in a couple days. Most likely if that happens, it's because the pumpkin was already bad. Again, it's kind of just hit or miss on the pumpkin where they're located, but if you leave them under the shade, they're more likely to last a lot longer.
I'm not sure which way to go, but I'm going to get out of this corn maze. Meanwhile, back to you, Matt.
Remains of 25-year-old Elizabeth Hornbeck were positively identified this week. Hornbeck had been missing since September of 2015. On March 21st of this year, the Missouri State Highway Patrol reported human remains found on a county road near Mountain View. An investigation into the circumstances surrounding her death is still ongoing. The West Plains campus of Missouri State University has been awarded a $202,000 grant from the Missouri Department of Natural Resources to help fund the construction of an outdoor amphitheater. Chancellor Drew Bennett says the 850-seat venue will provide the university and the greater West Plains community an outdoor location for spectator events, concerts, rallies, films, and theatrical performances. The project goes up for bid in early 2018. A Lebanon church group has taken issue with a downtown restaurant for serving alcoholic beverages on the city sidewalk. Stanley Bunch is the executive director of the Missouri Association of Free Will Baptist Churches. He told the Lebanon City Council on Tuesday night that he believes Madison Street Grill is violating a city ordinance by serving spirits on the walkway. He believes city leadership is turning a deliberate blind eye to municipal code and that statutes are being unequally enforced. The city attorney is currently reviewing the issue. The University of Missouri Extension held a cultural heritage workshop on October 19th in Rolla. Leanne Woolry, a community arts specialist with the organization, says the workshop is just one of a number of events being held throughout Missouri. The all-day workshop helps attendees develop ideas for cultural heritage projects in their communities. Woolry says that capitalizing on the roots of culture is very much about place, and says projects include such things as festivals, food, arts, crafts, music, stories, and even audio tours. Event participants learn how to develop funding proposals and take the steps necessary to see their projects become reality. The workshop is sponsored primarily by the Missouri Humanities Council, which funds community arts projects. The next Cultural Heritage Workshop is planned for December 2nd in Aurora, Missouri. For more information, you can visit the University of Missouri Extension website. A West Plains man has been charged with cattle rustling in what could be the plot of a modern-day John Wayne film. According to the Howell County Sheriff's Department, 25-year-old Colby Crosley stole a cow and 3 calves from a farmer's herd in Moody to offset the cost of a truck he just bought. The animals were sold during a livestock auction in Salem, Arkansas for $2,100. They have since been returned to their rightful owner. Former Waynesville head football coach Rick Vernon is now a member of the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame. Vernon was inducted on Monday in Springfield alongside former Mizzou quarterback Brad Smith and MSU coach Jesse Branch. Vernon coached the Waynesville Tigers for 33 years and led his 2007 team to the Class 5 state title. After 44 years in education and coaching, West Plains Lady Zizzers head softball coach Don Long is retiring. You've seen his team compete on Fidelity Local 6 over the past several seasons, and we'd like to wish him the best in his retirement. For the first time in 24 years, the St. James football Tigers are Four Rivers Conference champions. St. James defeated the Pacific Indians to finish 5-1 in the FRC. They will share that distinction with the Owensville Dutchmen, who defeated St. Clair on Friday the 13th by a score of 42-28. District playoff football begins this week across the state. Our Price Chopper Game of the Week will take us to Lions Memorial Stadium, where the Rolla Bulldogs will host the Wildcats of Westminster Christian Academy. That's all for now. I'm Matt Wacker. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. The weekly recap is brought to you by Price Chopper, cooking from scratch, the UPS store of Rolla, Bayard Dodge in West Plains, and the Ozarks Medical Center.